1700 watts of total power in a stylish new form factor. Jerry back with that Theatrically Jerry, and today we are going to take a look at MOKA SFX newest vertical fog machine, the H F01 High FX. What interested me most about this particular geyser style fog machine is both the design of the chassis, as you can see here, it's gorgeous, and the ability for it to stop fog instantly through its nozzle here, making it an even more convincing pillar of fog. Let's go ahead and check out what's included with MOKA SFX HF01 1500 watt fog machine. If you haven't already checked out my unboxing video for more information on its packaging and included accessories, you can go ahead and do that on my channel at Theatrically Jerry. MOKA has, of course, included a user manual. If you've ever watched my channel, you know how important I say user manuals are, so always read them. But anyways, this one's not super hefty because fog machines are pretty straightforward in operation, but they do include some things such as what the remote does, as well as the menu settings of the fog machine, and protecting the fog machine, as well as precautions and cleaning it. So go ahead and read that if you can. And then the next included accessory is, of course, a power con connector. I don't know if you can see this, but this is actually a pretty thick gauge power con connector because, like I said, this does consume 1700 watts of total power, even though it's a 1500 watt machine, so you need a really thick gauge. I do recommend running this on a 20 amp circuit because you will blow a 15 amp fuse on this, or at least you'll be pushing the 15 amp to its maximum. So they have included a very thick power con connector cable there. They have also included a 3-pin DMX cable that's over here. So this is pretty typical for a manufacturer to include a 3-pin DMX, and I always appreciate when they do. So thank you for that. They also include a white RF remote, and this RF remote is great because it's not an IR remote. So I prefer to have an RF remote over an IR remote because infrared doesn't travel as far as radio frequency, also in terms of line of sight. So this RF remote is going to have a much longer transmission range than an infrared remote. That's why I think MOKA went that way with this remote. MOKA states that there's a 60 meter or 196 foot transmission range on this remote control. Granted, that's line of sight. It will depend on obstacles between you and the fog machine, but there is a rather long antenna on this, if you can't see there. So this does do a very good transmission range. I've tested it. This machine measures in at 19.29 inches long, so this way, and 16.53 inches wide this way, and it is a very thin 7.87 inches deep. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, show you guys how thin it is. It weighs in at 26.45 pounds, so this is not lightweight. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, as you can see while I'm trying to turn it. It's not super heavy, but it's also not super lightweight, especially with a full tank of fog solution. The weight makes it feel extremely rugged and durable, however, so I would prefer that over a lighter machine that doesn't feel as durable. All right, let's move on to the design, which is something that attracted me to this fog machine. The design language used on the HF01 is gorgeous. This machine feels super durable. That's due to the rolled steel body here Most of this fog machine is metal, except the fog solution container, of course, as well as the fog solution attachment cap here, and this is also not metal, it's plastic. The carrying handle on the top is also plastic. This entire area right here is glass, or at least some sort of acrylic, and so that's not metal, and of course the LEDs are not metal, but all of this is metal. The buttons on the side here, some of them are plastic, but the majority of this machine is made out of metal, and that's what makes it feel rugged, and I love that. So let's take a closer look at the front or top of this fog machine. The front has a lot going on here. There's 27 3-watt LEDs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up here in a linear line, 9 down here in a linear line, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a circle around the nozzle or fog output. This is all tucked away behind a glass lens or pane, and what that's doing is it's making it easy for you guys to clean this. You don't have to clean each LED lens separately. This entire flat glass pane is protecting them, so all you have to do is run a rag over this after your show and it's clean. And that's to get any fog solution off of it or anything else that's going to stick to it. The LEDs are RGB or red, green, blue color mixing with all 3 of them on, making white, of course. I would have preferred a RGB WA plus UV or red, green, blue, white, amber plus UV LED setup, especially at this price point on this system. But I also think that if it would have had ambers, it would have helped sell a fire effect when this is shooting off. So that's just me nitpicking this, but the red, green, and blue on here are very nice looking. They're saturated. They're super bright. These are coming in at 3 watts a piece, so they're pretty bright for a fog machine light system. Dead center is a bright red fog machine ring that protects the fog machine's output nozzle right here. This is a eye-catching design while also reminding you guys that it's hot. Do not touch red, hot. So not only is it a design element, but it's also telling you something as well. This is a 1500 watt fog machine, so the nozzle will get extremely hot. It's good to see they recessed the copper tube so you cannot accidentally touch it and burn yourself. I have seen a lot of these geyser fog machines with no protection around their nozzle, and you don't want to touch a copper nozzle, not at this heat point. The fog machine is capable of shooting fog 8 meters from its nozzle or 26 feet away. That's pretty impressive. It claims 32,000 cubic feet a minute of output, and that's maximum, with a minimal 4-minute warm-up time. The reheating time is an astonishing 40 seconds, and that's only if you run this at full output. We'll check all of this out later on in the review. So to the left is the fog solution container. They have included a bracket here that holds the tank firmly in place. So in order to take this off, you have to unscrew this thumb screw over here. The thumb screw also has a Phillips head attachment to it, so you can use a Phillips head if you want. I don't know if you can see that, but look how nice that looks. High effects. And basically what that's doing is holding this in place. So we can go ahead and slide it back in. It's very easy to slide in, and then you can just retighten it over here. Very easy to do with the thumb screw. The container is plastic feeling and it does feel kind of cheap. The container cap is also plastic and feels kind of cheap up here. Especially this attachment here. I don't want it to break. I hope it doesn't. There are two tubes in here that go into the fog solution container. The one with a copper filter is the fog solution intake. The other tube detects low fog solution and tells the machine to shut off. They machined out markers that show the fog solution level on the right side of the body. I would have liked to have seen an illuminated tank for easier viewing on that level. Let's go ahead and look at the cutouts. So there's not a whole lot going on this side of the fog machine, but they have milled out metal here so that you can kind of see where your fog solution level is. And they also have silk screened level indicators, H being your highest and this one being your lowest. So you can kind of see how much fog solution is in there, but not really. It is a little difficult to see. You probably will want a flashlight when you're checking the level on here, but you also don't really have to worry about it too much, because if this does ever run out, the system will simply shut down, so you won't end up burning out your fog machine. Something else that I noticed about the design of the fog solution container or tank is that you can't simply pull this out. There's not enough cord here to just pull this out quickly. What you do have to do is unscrew this cap here. And then you can pull the whole tank out. So it's kind of a weird setup there, but I wanted to show you guys how that works. We have a lot going on here on the right side of this machine. This is where you interact with the H F01. Since this is a professional fog machine, MOKA has included both a 5-pin and a 3-pin DMX in and out. Below that, on the left side, is your power con in and out here. This is good for daisy chaining, as well as a 15 amp fuse, safety fuse. This will pop if you blow the internal fuse here. And they also have included a lighted rocker switch. I love that they've included this because not only is it a large switch, so it's easy to find with your finger, it is also lighted, so you can see it in the dark, and it does make a nice auditory click. It doesn't feel cheap either. It feels like a really nice rocker switch, so they have included that, and I love that they did. To the right here is your user interface display. It's a blue and white LED matrix display with easy to read characters. There are 6 plastic buttons here below the screen. We have our function button. This is to navigate the menus. We have an up and down button to also navigate the menus. We have our timer button. This is to set a timer for your fog machine. We have a volume button, and the volume button allows for you to select how powerful you want this fog to output. The volume button also happens to be the enter button on this fog machine as well. And then next to that we have our manual button. So if you're not running this in DMX mode or using the included RF remote, you can press down on this manual button and it will manually shoot fog out of the fog machine. The buttons here seem kind of cheap. This whole area here is just one sticker. So this sticker is covering the display screen here, and it's also covering the buttons. So the buttons kind of feel cheap. They don't push in as well as they should. And the sticker just feels kind of cheap on it as well. There is a little bit of peeling up here. If you can't see, it's peeling up from the bottom here, so I don't know how long this sticker will last. I do keep rubbing it to make sure it will stay put, but it seems to still want to just peel up. So like I said, not the best navigation system I've seen on a fog machine. I would have preferred physical buttons over these plastic push buttons. Silk screened button names would have been nice as well, and individual separate buttons and no plastic cover here, maybe just a glass screen would have looked nice, but it does do the job, and I do control my machines mostly through DMX, so I'm not going to have to visit this too often except to, of course, address it, its DMX address. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the user menus and navigation, so let's go ahead and cut over to that. The top of the HF01 has a plastic carrying handle, as you can see here. It does have one exhaust fan for the LEDs. That's to cool them down and extend their life. And there is also a steel eye over here for wrapping your safety cable around if you do choose to mount this on a truss system. You can actually mount this upright or upside down. So you can mount it, you can set it on the floor like this, or you can flip the entire system over. And there is some M10 mounting screws to mount a C-clamp to underneath here, and you can actually have the machine pointing downwards. So you can technically spray a jet of fog upwards or downwards depending on how you want to do it. Or if you buy two of these machines, you can have one going up and one going down. There's a lot of possibilities with it. So this machine actually has two bottoms to it. This is one of the bottoms if you were to flip the machine over. And then of course we have our bottom here as well, which would be more of a traditional one. But if you're going to carry this like a briefcase, this is technically your bottom. And the bottom features rubber feet for freestanding. So on top of shooting a jet of fog up or down, you can also use this like a traditional fog machine and spray it outwards towards you. The rubber feet help dampen the sound and keep the machine off the ground. So these are actually really nice feeling, and they do have a nice width to them, so they are going to keep your machine a little bit off the ground. There are some exhaust vents here as well. These are actually air intake vents, so these do take in air from the fan exhausting the heat out. I like that they are angled downwards too, so water is not going to get in them, even though this is not an IP65 rated fixture. I do like to see that these are pointed downwards. Let's go ahead and take a look at the traditional bottom of this machine, which would be under here. So the actual bottom of this machine contains a few interesting things. The first thing that catches my eye and probably your eye as well is the beautiful MOKA logo here, and it's CNC'd out of the steel. Very nice touch, guys, with that. There are also 4 rubber dampening feet here as well to keep your machine off the ground and to dampen the sound. There are 4 M10 threads that are located throughout the machine. They are there to mount the fog machine to a truss system. So you can just screw a C-clamp into these and mount them to your truss system. Since you can spray this downwards, that is why they have included these. So you can mount this like this way, and the fog's going to spray downwards. Now let's bring this beast outside of the studio and see what it's capable of doing. I do recommend a 20 amp dedicated outlet for this machine, as it is a 1500 watt fog machine that does draw up to 1700 watts of power, so better to be safe than sorry and trip a breaker. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at this. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions about MOKA SFX's fog machine, go ahead and leave it in the comments or questions down below, and I will read and respond to them as quickly as I can. If you do enjoy review videos such as this one on a fog machine, or you like DJ lights, atmospherics, equipment, stage lighting, anything like that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel at Theatrically Jerry. And thank you guys for watching.